Hit me.
From Studio A in Arcata, behind the redwood curtain, it's time for...
Succotash.
Yes, Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast featuring snippets from comedy...
Soundcasts.
And also interviews with comedians, comedian soundcasters, and other showbiz folk. And now, here's this episode's host from up the coast, the man who puts the X in Xbox and the tie on antisocial, Comedy Soundcast Soundcaster, Tyson Saner.
Saner.
Saluton, estas me, Tyson Saner. I am your host for this episode of Succotash that numbers 269. Last week's episode 268 was hosted by show creator and executive producer Marc Hershon, who, in case you're new to Succotash, has been hosting shows every other week with me, or rather, I've been doing so with him, for over a year now. It has been a great way to make sure that there's a new show every week for people to discover, recommend, and just basically rely on for weekly entertainment. Speaking of, if you're new to Succotash, thank you for listening. If you listened to last week's show, you will already know that it was a chats episode, with nary a clip to be found, but dense with conversational goodness to be listened to with none other than comedian, actor, and musician Rick Overton. That episode is called Palaverin' with Rick Overton, appropriately, and is well worth the listen. Aside from being on Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podcast FM, Podbay, and others, it is also archived over at www.succotashshow.com, as is every episode of Succotash that has been released in the last 10 years. This week's episode is a biggie for me. Literally the longest show I've put together for you since before the shorter weekly format started back in 2020. It's clips and a big old chunk of chat. I've got clips from the Soundcast Gluten Free Gaming, the Spawn Chunks, and Coffee With Butterscotch, for starters, and then a rather sizable chunk from another Soundcast I co-host with my friend Hunter Block called Anti-Social Show. You might have heard of it. The clip features part of a conversation I was fortunate enough to have with comedian, actor, and musician Andy Kindler. I'm very excited to share that with you here. I would like to point out that this episode is themed in a particular way, and I wonder if you can figure out what that theme is by the end of the show. I guess we'll have to see, won't we? Anyway, let's get to it. First up, Gluten Free Gaming, in which the description says, Lizzie and Lucy are two women who can't eat gluten and who want to share their favorite games with each other and everyone else. Join us as we subject each other to games and other nerdy media that we love and want to make everyone else love as well. Listen if you want to find the best gluten-free games available, or if you just want to hang. Fair enough. So this is a clip from an episode from August 4th, 2021. It's actually their first episode. It's called Some Like It Honk, and it's in which they discuss the game Untitled Goose Game. The episode description says, join Lizzie and Lucy as they play Untitled Goose Game in the very first episode of Gluten Free Gaming.
What is your favorite little thing that you can do as the goose?
I like honking. Honking is very fun. One of my favorite interactive parts was where you're in the pub and there's these two ladies sitting at the table and you can stand on this little grate that's kind of a little bit above the ground. So it's a little bit like a soapbox. And then these two ladies start looking at you like, oh, a goose. And then one of them makes a noise and then you honk back. And then the other one waves her arms and then you flap your wings back. And then the other one kind of bows her head. So you bow your head and then they throw you a flower. I love that part. It's really cute.
I think I also love that part. I think that's one of the genuine moments of oh wait, I love being a goose right now.
Yes.
And if geese were like this, every goose would be really cool.
Yes.
But geese are mean. But I really like when you get to go into the TV store and be on TV.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And
that's a good time.
I always milk it. I want to I did it 3 times. I didn't need to, but I went in there 3 times to be on TV because I was this is so funny to just be on TV as a goose.
Incredible.
This one little shop.
Yeah, no, I love that one. I also love messing with the little boy on the high street where the shop is because it's so easy to upset him, and I'm I don't have to feel bad about it because it's a video game and also it's hilarious. So that's That's fun for me as well. It's like, because, you have to lock him in the little telephone booth.
Yeah.
But like,
Or
you could do so
like,
much other
chase him
stuff
in
to
there.
like, yeah, you could do so much other stuff to like annoy him, which is hilarious.
I love untying his shoes.
Yes.
And taking off his glasses to give him the other pair of glasses. Yeah, it is such like a clever little thing that like you wouldn't think that that's something that you would do, but then you do it and you're like, oh my god, this is so cute and funny.
Yeah, and I love the way they've structured the to-do list. And also like, how do you think the goose got a hold of this to-do list? Do you think this is just a representation so that we understand what to do, or do you think the goose literally has like a to-do list?
No, I think the goose literally has a to-do list that he has like in cursive written down what to do to fuck shit up this week. I think he might have like a goose king, maybe, who like delegates, maybe, and delegates.
There's like a goose hierarchy.
Yeah, it's like the labyrinth, the Goblin King in Labyrinth, played by David Bowie. It's just the Goose King. Oh my god, you you gotta watch Labyrinth
sometime, eventually, perhaps. Maybe we can do that for the show. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, apparently the game devs got their inspiration for the to-do list from like Hitman and like the way that they do it on that game. So they were like, they thought the idea of just a goose like having tasks and everything was hilarious, which I also think is hilarious. Yeah, so what else do we have to discuss?
Okay, so something that everyone should know about me and will know about me and will always know about me is I hate fishing simulators in video games. And this is the first, like, this is one of the only games I have on my Switch that doesn't have a fishing simulator.
Incredible.
And how? Like, why is fishing so common in games? And fishing sucks. End of rant. I hate fishing in games.
Well, in Subnautica, you don't go fishing, you grab fish. So
okay. In Breath of the Wild, and I don't know if it's like this in every Zelda game. I've only ever played Breath of the Wild, but you also just like swim, and if you pass a fish, you just grab it. It's like you also do that with like mushrooms and shit. So like I didn't mind it in Breath of the Wild. And yeah, Subnautica, you just like stab fish. And I think same with Minecraft. I've never played Minecraft. Don't hate me.
I've never played Minecraft either. Maybe we'll have to do that eventually. It's like, it's one of those things that it's gotten like so popular that I feel like I should play it, but I also like, I don't have any innate desire to. And at this point, I feel like I'm just so far behind.
But this game, I am not joking that it reminded me a lot of Breath of the Wild. Like, this game is Goose Breath of the Wild.
You're the first person I've ever heard to say that. I haven't played Breath of the Wild yet, so I can't say whether or not I would make that connection. But that's so funny to me.
So you can find the show on Instagram at Gluten Free Gaming Pod and at Twitter at GF Gaming Pod. It is GFGAMINGPOD. That's all lowercase. Lisi, you can find at Lisi Galaxy on Twitter and Instagram. That is lowercase LISI _, lowercase GALAXY. And Lucy McIntosh can be found at Banjo Lesbian. That is all lowercase BANJOLESBIAN, and that is on Twitter and Instagram. Also, you can follow Lisi on Twitch at twitch.tv / capital LISI _ capital GALAXY, that's Lisi Galaxy, to see streams, apparently every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That might be subject to change, but if you are used to following people on Twitch, then you know where to find Twitch and how to do all that. So Spotify seems to be the main place to find them, although they are on Apple and Google Podcasts, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. First episode, anyway, is on YouTube. I look forward to seeing what they come up with for the, at this point, 4 more episodes. As of right now, they are up to 5 episodes. Next up tonight, a little soundcast called The Spawn Chunks, a Minecraft podcast, from Joel Duggan and Pixel Riffs. Its description says, The Spawn Chunks is a podcast all about Minecraft. We dig into Minecraft, related news and development snapshots, explore game content and the Minecraft community, and craft our personal thoughts and experiences about the game we love. The clip is from their 150th episode, which posted on July 19th, 2021, in which the description says, Joel and Johnny review the details of the Echoing Void Minecraft Dungeons DLC announcement and share their thoughts on exploring the new Minecraft terrain generation in the first Caves and Cliffs experimental snapshot.
The first one comes in from Rakuta, who is a landscape artist member of our Discord, and the subject is potential rare Caves and Cliffs biomes. Hi, Pixel Riffs and Joel. With the latest experimental snapshot for 1.18 introducing new terrain generation and having biomes be independent of that generation, I was thinking this might be a good way for Mojang to introduce rare Caves and Cliffs biomes. For example, if a cliff forms next to an ocean, the game could decide to make this cliff be a new rare biome made of calcite. It could look like the White Cliffs of Dover and provide a new way to mine calcite in large quantities. Underground, rare ice caves could be found under snowy areas made of blue ice and have blue ice stalagmites and stalactites. Wondering what your thoughts are on the chances for new rare biomes that are related to the new world generation. I can't think of a clever sign-off, Rakuta. Well, you're unique in that aspect. I feel like we're getting more and more clever sign-offs each week, but thank you for keeping it real, Rakuta. As somebody who lives down the road from Seven Sisters Country Park, which is the location that people tend to use to represent the White Cliffs of Dover in media where it's not like modern day, like if you're looking at, you know, period dramas where Dover is meant to be involved, they actually use Seven Sisters Country Park instead because there is less kind of urban development around it. It's, you know, a protected area, and so you tend to get more, you know, clean aerial shots of it without having to like paint out all of the kind of buildings and stuff in the background. I am fairly attracted to the idea of calcite in cliffs. Personally, I feel like it removes half the reason to find a geode, though, and that's one of the difficult kind of gameplay balance things of, like, this would look really cool, but also I know a good handful of builders, like myself, who are just hunting down geodes for calcite and leaving the amethyst portion of it behind. And so running into one of these things would be cool, but I also feel like once you find something like that, it feels like such a part of the natural world that maybe you don't want to tear the entire thing apart just to get some resources, especially if it's new. I remember people, when mesas were introduced, not wanting to take apart the outside of a mesa because it looked so nice and wanting to preserve it as a beautiful feature of the Minecraft environment.
Yeah, when we find, like, I think it's the Extreme Badlands, which looks like Bryce Canyon.
Yeah,
in
Eroded
South
Badlands,
Utah.
I think is the...
Yeah, Eroded Badlands, thank you. Yeah, like that kind of stuff. I mean, the mode operandi on a server for us is just like, mine the inside. Or just don't go find another, like find a mesa that we've already put a dent in and just like clear cut that. You know, like don't mess with the ones that look like the Roadrunner cartoons, because they look really, really cool. I'm with you on that. I think that it would be neat to see the White Cliffs. I guess the one thing would be like, if the calcite was 4 or 5 blocks deep, you could kind of like carve it out without removing the cliff. You know, you could dig on the inside, not on the outside. But I'm with you. I think that, I mean, by putting those kind of famous things in the game, you remove a player project or a potential player project for people that want to grind out that many geodes and have the flex of having the White Cliffs of Dover. And really, we're already getting, it looks like, seaside cliffs in the 118 snapshot. Like, some of the cliffs that are oceanside are real, like, things that I hike on here in Nova Scotia. Like, you're talking, you know, 30 blocks sometimes straight down, almost straight down. Which I like that it's not straight. Like, there's just a little bit of a curve to it, or a slope to it, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I have a really good example of this that I'll put in the screenshots we'll include in the show notes. There is a brilliant cove that I discovered while flying around in spectator mode that just looks spectacular. And like you said, it's not like a sheer cliff, so there is still a chance of you landing a boat there and finding a place to climb up if you needed to. But also, it's a stone shore biome, I think, that is generated this way, and with the extra height, it really feels like it's bordering the terrain from the ocean in a way that feels a lot more like natural geology. And I honestly think this biome further down the line would be a good candidate for an overhaul, and I've talked before about having cliffs with like stratified veins of stone in them, like built up like sediment over time. And I think the problem with that is that there isn't a huge amount of sedimentary rock in Minecraft because it's all like it's all metamorphic rock. It's all, andesite and granite and the kind of stuff that forms in volcanoes rather than being on, shores like chalk. And I think sandstone is probably the closest thing we have. But you don't necessarily want them to be sandstone cliffs. But I still think generation like that just looks superb and is a really nice side effect of all they're doing to increase the terrain height.
Yeah, the closest thing that we would have in Minecraft would be the terracotta layers, I think, for sedimentary stuff.
I've started playing Minecraft about, I'm going to say, a year and a half ago now, although it might be less than that. Minecraft, of course, has been around for about 10 years, and it's well worth the experience if you've never played it before. I get that now. I'm not sure why I avoided it. If you want to reach out to the show, you can find it at The Spawn Chunks, that is all lowercase, THESPAWNCHUNKS. Joel Duggan can be reached at Joel Duggan, at capital JOEL, capital DUGGAN. Pixel Riffs can be reached at capital PIXLRIFFS. And you can go to thespawnchunks.com, which apparently is their main website, and that is at all lowercase THESPAWNCHUNKS.com.
Hello, friends. Bill Haywatt here. With the summer winding down and the days getting shorter, it's a sure sign that it's back to school time. While kids might be grumbling that their fun is about to end, they can still be having a great time when they hit those hallowed halls in their new Henderson's back to school pants. Far from being too cool for school, Henderson's back to school pants are just right, regardless of whether your offspring is star of the football team or a wimpy loser who gets beaten up by the bike racks every day after class.
On the advice of counsel, Henderson's Pants wants to assure listeners of this program that we do not tolerate nor support bullying in our nation's schools or playgrounds. The childhood spectrum illustrated in this commercial message is not intended to denigrate or mock those children who might be seen as being of lesser ability or popularity than other more desirable young people. We invite opposing views to contact the management of Henderson's Pants via this program. We now return to the commercial, already in progress. Bill?
Thank you, Joe. Originally designed for private school, public school, and that school of hard knocks, Henderson's back to school pants can be found in the aisles next to peachy folders, pencil boxes, and small caliber firearms, wherever back to school supplies are sold. That's Henderson's, makers of knickers and knee pants since 1917. And now back to Succotash.
And thank you, Bill Haywatt. Our third and final clip offering for this episode is from a show called Coffee with Butterscotch, a game dev comedy podcast from Butterscotch Shenanigans. Its description says, Coffee with Butterscotch is the hilarity-filled official podcast of award-winning video game studio Butterscotch Shenanigans. Tune in every week to learn how video games are made and sold, our take on building a small company from scratch, and how to be an unstoppable problem-solving machine. Whether you're a tech entrepreneur working on your own startup, a person who loves playing or making video games, or just a person interested in learning about the games industry, we've got you covered. Butterscotch Shenanigans is an independent video game studio best known for its smash hit Crashlands. The podcast features founders Seth Koster, the games programmer, Adam Koster, the web programmer, Sam Koster, the artist, and other awesome people. Got a question you want answered on the podcast? Ask at podcast.bscotch.net. It is podcast.bscotch.net. So, I went back in time for this one. I pulled a show from September 2nd, 2015, so 6 years ago, when they had episode 18. Its description says, Sam is still stuck in the hospital. So in this episode of Coffee with Butterscotch, Adam and Seth carry the torch and discuss all kinds of random crap. We talk about the great progress we've made with Crashlands, why Seth would be a Galapagos tortoise, while Adam would be a female lanternfish, and we answer questions about Chauncey the Rabbit and Butterscotch merch. So I've chosen a clip that actually deals with the Galapagos tortoise / female lanternfish material in general. And even though this clip is from 6 years ago, they're still making new episodes and new games. As of now, which is early September 2021, Coffee with Butterscotch is up to 325 episodes.
All right, Nia asks, if the bros were an animal, what animal would each of you be? Answers limited to dragons, phoenixes, wait, it's limitless, lizard people, woo!
Oh, is that
last part?
Yeah, it's WEWWW, which I didn't know what that meant, but now
it's woo. Lizard people, woo.
Seth, what would you be? Or wait, do we have to choose for ourselves or for each other, or both?
Well, I mean, we know that for starters, Sam would be a rabbit.
Yeah, absolutely,
because he's been infused with the essence of a rabbit.
But he already is an animal. I guess that is the question, though. If they were an animal,
if you were an animal, what would you be? And obviously, Sam is now an
Sam
animal.
is an animal, and he's a rabbit, so that answers that question.
Yeah, but I'd go with human. It's one of my top animals.
That's true. So if we were an animal, and we are because we're humans,
so
we're taking too much of a programmer approach to this question, I think.
If it's square, rhombus, whatever. Otherwise, probably a rhinoceros.
Ew. But then some jerk would just kill you and hack off your horn.
I'll get shanked and then my horn cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, what animal has just like a really good life?
Probably
maybe just like maybe a giant tortoise.
A giant tortoise. Yeah.
You just like slurp around and eat plants, you know.
And then you basically live forever.
You live for 200 years. Nothing can fuck with you because
but I think
you have an enormous shell.
I think your life also just moves very slowly, though. Because, I mean, sure, you get to live for 100 years, but you spend most of your time slowly slurping around. Everything that you do is in a slurping fashion. So, I don't know. You probably only experience like a good week of life.
I don't know. I get the sense that tortoises experience time at like 3 times the normal rate. Like for them, they feel like they're just moving a pretty good speed. And everything else around them is just super fast.
Exactly. So what that means,
like a hummingbird,
right? So what that means is they actually have very little life relative to the extent of it.
Yeah, but they're so chilled out.
That's true.
You know,
might as well have a shorter, chilled out life.
A giant,
exciting.
What is that, like a Galapagos tortoise or something?
That is a kind of tortoise.
That's the kind I would be.
Yeah,
one of those 200, 400, whatever pounders.
Interesting. I guess I would try to avoid humans because those kill you all the time if you're a non-human animal. Well, actually, even if you're a human animal. If you're anything, humans will kill you in all likelihood.
Unless you're some kind of horrible deep sea creature.
That's right, exactly. So I was going to go with a deep sea something or other. Maybe a deep sea female lanternfish. I think that's what I would be. That is a pretty good life right there.
Yeah, a male lanternfish is not that good.
No. Well, then you just become...
You're basically a living testicle.
Well, you are for those of you who aren't familiar...
that's true of humans, too.
Also true. If you're not familiar with a lanternfish, there is a great oatmeal comic that sounds like theoatmeal.com if you're not familiar with that website. But he has a comic about the lanternfish, which sounds like a joke, but it isn't. It's really how lanternfish work, which is that they live so deep down in the pitch black ocean where there's almost nothing alive because there's not enough stuff to support life, that their numbers are tiny, but they're distributed over a huge, huge area. And they can't...
In 3 dimensions.
And they can't really find each other. And so on the rare instances that they do, they basically have to mate. Like, it's just what has to happen. And the males are these tiny little fish, and the females are huge.
So the question is, what happens if the female isn't ready to mate when she meets a male?
And so what happens is, well, not only that, she wants to be able to produce eggs multiple times and, all of that.
Exactly.
And so what happens is the male just basically latches on, and then over time just fuses. Like the body literally just fuses with the...
They bite on and then their jaw melts into the female lanternfish's flesh.
Until all that's left is basically fish balls.
All that's left is a testicle.
Yeah.
In a bag.
So then it just supplies sperm so that they can make babies forever. Which is why I would not be a male lanternfish. But being a female, you're pretty safe, way down deep. There's nothing out there that's going to get you. You're a relatively top predator. Kind of boring.
On the flip side, though, anytime you come across another lanternfish, if it's a male, they're just going to bite you and turn into a
testicle. That's true.
So you're gonna have a lot of that to deal with.
Yeah.
But I think
are there deep sea octopi? Because that'd be a pretty.
Yeah,
good
that's
one.
what I was. That's what I was saying. Octopi are brilliant.
Yeah.
Or octopods, whatever the plural is.
Octopodes.
Yeah. Octopi are freaking brilliant. They can open jars Yeah, the real problem with being any kind of an animal is suddenly you're subject to nature, which means
And
you're probably
humans.
gonna be horribly killed.
Yeah.
By either
Unless
a
you're a
person
top predator.
or you're going to be eaten by something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough life being an animal.
Indeed.
But Galapagos tortoise and female lanternfish and rabbit.
And rabbit.
I should point out that I used to play Crashlands on a tablet I had from, I don't want to say 2015, but it was somewhere around there. It was closer to 2016. Not long after it came out. There were some really nice reviews on it. It looked fun. I was into games like Don't Starve. Hadn't played Minecraft yet, but I appreciated Don't Starve. And it is a great game, and I'm playing it again on my new device. And also, during this period of time, it says Sam is still stuck in the hospital. It's because Sam battled and beat cancer back in the day. Back in this day that I've sampled. And still managed to, with his two brothers, their three-brother dev team, create an award-winning video game. So you can reach the studio on Twitter at bsshenani. That is capital B, capital S, COTCH, capital SHENANI. Seth Koster can be reached at capital SETH, capital COSTER. Adam Koster can be reached at all lowercase Kosterad, COSTERAD. Sam Koster can be reached at Samuel Koster, which is lowercase SAMUEL, uppercase COSTER. And you can find the game Crashlands at www.bscotch.net/games. You can also find their latest podcast at www.bscotch.net/podcast/325. By the time you hear this, they will probably have more episodes. All right, we're just about to get into the clip from Antisocial Show, which is episode 95, and it's called Abracadabra Salutely with Andy Kindler. For a little context, Mr. Kindler joined me in conversation for almost an hour as we waited for my co-host Hunter to arrive. Hunter had experienced a surprise schedule change that he had to deal with. After Hunter arrived and pleasantries were exchanged, we started a quiz that I create with the help of my wife for new guests called What Do These Mean Words Mean? And a good time was had by all. What I have for you here is a goodly chunk of what ended up in the first, I'm going to say, third of the episode proper. Edits have been made for length.
Now, what are you about? What are the no gods? What's happening with that?
Oh, no gods.
Are you a new? You're not a new atheist, right? Please tell me.
No. So this is.
Please tell me. No gods or kings.
Only men.
Love that.
That is from a video game called BioShock.
Oh my god!
It came out in like it came out in the 2000s, and this character here is kind of a fictionalized version of.
Oh, the guy in the it looks like a hologram almost.
Yeah, or he looks kind of like an Orson Welles type.
Yeah.
Yeah, his character he's called Andrew Ryan, which is an anagram of Ayn Rand. Because basically the people who created this video game created a what-if scenario, like what would it be like if there actually was this, utopia and sort of this alternate history.
Who you hit? Who'd you hit then? The microphone?
My microphone, yeah. It wasn't there a second ago because if I get out, it disappears. And it's gone. Oh, and it's back.
Oh, you're the worst magician I think I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe you are a magician. That's a bad thing for me to say. You might be a professional magician.
Oh, but even if I was, that'd be a fantastic thing, because it could very well be true, and also it would lower people's expectations of my abilities.
And also, I'd be like Don Rickles or something like that.
Right. Sure, make this hockey puck disappear.
Yeah.
Well, so thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Right. I haven't done any homework or really realize what I'm doing here, nor do I remember our initial
contact.
So our initial contact. I know it's on Twitter, and I know that I'm familiar with something that I follow you on Twitter.
You do, thank you.
And I do know something about you, but then you unfortunately have caught me in the part of my life where it's all shutting down. It's all shutting down, Tyson.
I hear you. I am not far.
It's shut down. Did I say it was shutting down before?
I think you did say it was shutting down.
It's shutting down.
So
the memory's gone.
Sorry, go ahead.
The memory's gone.
I do find that things are squeezing out that I used to have in my memory banks.
No, I'm actually fine. You know what it is? I'm actually have an amazing mind. And you know what it's from? Taking Prevagen.
Prevagen. I've heard of that. Is that one of those do not take if you're allergic to Prevagen kind of things?
No, it's one of these, first of all, it's from a substance found in jellyfish. So I think it explains itself.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, yeah.
And it's one of these, a few things they have out now that they're trying to get you to take.
Mm-hmm.
One will make you look like Einstein.
Ooh.
This one, if you see it, you won't believe the commercials. So the commercials are where the guy goes, yeah, well, past 10 years, people say, well, oh man, is your mind like a steel trap? They say to me, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I say and they say, he says this, I've been taking Prevagen for about 5 years. About 5 years.
About
he's
5
claiming, he's claiming his mind is. So these things I think they're not snake oil,
mm-hmm.
but only because they're not made of snake oil.
Not made of snake, yeah. You know, the funny thing is, it is come to light that snake oil is actually good for you. That actual snake oil is good for you.
Well, it never was about the snake.
No, yeah.
Oh, I see. So, what was the original pitch? In other words, the original pitch was these guys were always offering. The new information is they were always offering something good. These snake oil salesmen,
mm-hmm.
Magical snake oil.
They'd come.
We'd be more healthy if we had. Yeah.
Be like Yakov's Golden Elixir from Inspector General, Danny Kaye, one of my favorite movies.
I am so Danny Kaye challenged.
To be fair, I have seen exactly 3 of his films, and there are more of them, but they are some of my favorite. Well, 2 of them are at least a couple of my favorite comedies. I saw The Man with the Diner's Card once. I enjoyed it. Don't remember much about it. My 2 favorites are pretty much Inspector General, as mentioned, and The Court Jester.
That's the one with the schmuckle did the makamane, the schmeeka dinky danky dang.
That's exactly it.
The schmuckle and a pickle and a schnockle and the hookle.
And the hingy, the finger, the fantasy, and the
people love. Now, I was sadly Fred Willard passed away, and his amazing wife passed away. They love Danny Kaye. They love Danny Kaye. Yeah. I don't know why it depressed you. Just to tell you that one anecdote, I had to name drop even while introducing 2 people who passed away. Not my best name dropping work.
It's it's a pretty heavy name too. Mr. K was
Mr. K.
Mr. K. Mr. K.
Are you calling me Mr. K?
Oh, that's right. You would be a Mr. K as well.
Who else was Mr. K? Oh, Danny Kaye.
With Danny Kaye.
Now, is he one of these guys who, in private, would bite your head off?
I have heard one thing or another. I've heard, somebody said he was a devil to work with, but that was one of my uncles, and I don't think he ever actually worked with him. Because he wasn't in show business, for one thing.
That's what I figured. I wasn't going to say that, but then the way you said it made it sound like it wasn't.
Right. It's hard to say. Well, he had this. There was a great story that Gilbert Gottfried tells that I will not tell, but it has to do with Danny Kaye and Sir Laurence Olivier. And I think Danny Kaye played a joke on Olivier at an airport involving a strip search of some sort. And that's all I want. And that's the actual story.
That's pretty good. I mean, that is some excellent stuff.
Yeah. And of course, because it's Gilbert, he always starts the story off with "I heard," and then he continues it. He had some great "I heard" stories. It's a good podcast. His podcast is.
Wait, now what is that? That's not Succotash.
No, that is Gilbert Gottfried's amazing colossal podcast. That's what that
is. Now, how many podcasts do you have?
Personally, I have.
Are you a podcast mogul?
Oh, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be good.
Well, who knows? There's time. Let's see. So I have currently...
like Wolfberg, like that famous Wolf Pack.
Earwolf?
Wolfarama. Earwolf, that's right.
And Wolf Pop, which actually is defunct now, I believe. But yeah, Wolf Pop.
But Earwolf, that guy is... You see, he's got Jaguars and, expensive Rolexes, Scott.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Rolls down the street with the window. I'm Scott Ackerman, bitches, I believe is what he says.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he says, which I think is awful.
It can be. Yeah. Especially with the Doppler effect, because if he goes by too quick, you hear, and it sounds...
The Doppler effect was a band I was in the early 90s. I was in after Sig Alert.
Very cool. Electric violin?
After Sig Alert broke up, I got involved with the. I already forgot. See, this is the mind. I forgot the other reference.
Oh, I just realized that I'm too dumb to realize that Sig Alert is another reference tagging up on the Doppler effect.
I can't believe you. It's not really the same category, but I thought you'd get it.
Yeah, you took a chance. You threw it out there. I didn't get it. I'm sorry, but I'm sure somebody would.
If you go into an AM radio station, which you shouldn't go into, but let's say you were in there and you said, "Hey, can you ask the traffic guy what a Sig Alert is?" They'll throw you out of the thing. They're sick of it. You're sick of it. That was something that was interesting to AM radio in 1987.
AM radio.
And do you know what it is?
Let's see. You started in 1987. What was the Sig Alert something?
You started in it? I started in it.
I think I think it says somewhere that you've been active since 1987. I don't know if that's true, but since you said 1987.
That's what they say at the retirement home. He's very active now.
Ever since
That's what they
87.
say. 87. No, anything you read about me is probably untrue. I forgot again what we were talking about. I think I'm not doing a bit so much as not doing anything.
Can I tell you a little something about?
Sure.
Okay, so my first exposure to you in time in history, or your first.
Now, are you recording now? You're not even recording.
Oh, I am. We are. Yes.
Okay.
I figured. I hope.
You can use anything that I say, unless it's something horrible. If I say I would like to kill Eddie, I would like to kill Eddie T. Smith, and I'm going to do it. Eddie T. Smith III. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it later tonight after this. And I don't know if I can curse. Can I? I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him.
Right now, somewhere.
After this podcast. No, get it right. Eddie T. Smith.
Eddie T. Smith. Eddie
the
T. Smith.
third.
Your days are numbered, sir. Is something that we would never say because we would.
Does he listen to the recording of your show? I didn't know that.
It is possible that he might, somewhere out there, and he's probably, well, he's not right now, but if he's listening, it is technically right now for him as well as us. It's just a different right now. It's a then.
Every time you say right now, I think of the song Right Now, which probably nobody even knows anymore.
Who's that by?
Right Now by the Youngbloods. Come on, people now.
Oh.
I'm putting some mustard on the hot dog. Smile on each other. That's not the way I really sing. So don't even get the, everybody get together. You can't really sing that song without making it sound funny, but that was a song that I loved as a young child.
It is a good song. I always thought it was called Get Together, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I'm often wrong about song names. It's not called Right Now? Wow.
I mean, it could be just,
It's not called She Loves You, Ooh, 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 like I heard it in Peggy Sue Got Married?
Apparently not. Or like, Girl, You Know It's True, Ooh, 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 which always kind of bugged me. But there was...
Is that the infamous guys who got fired?
Yes.
Who are they?
It was Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, here we go. Girl, you know it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I could be like you. Blue. Your shoe. That's the way they practice it. They never actually, of course, they never sang. Mm-hmm. So it was all robots. And then they would just
And it comes in with the ooh, 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 because there was nothing that rhymed that they could put in there otherwise. But they did have the shoulder moves, which were pretty cool when they did it.
I don't know. It's so that must be so embarrassing in retrospect.
Oh yeah, there's a great story about it. Like
for both Milli and Vanilli.
The one who's still alive talks about it at great length and how they were basically swindled out of their careers and sort of sandbagged by the record company and another producer. His name is Fab Morvan, and he he doesn't have a podcast yet, but if you put that into YouTube, you can find some good stuff on him saying exactly what went wrong during that period of time.
Wow. So was he actually a singer then? He was actually a singer, probably.
They both were.
So they got railroaded into some kind of...
Completely. Yeah. I didn't know that until, many years later. And that's, and of course I just remember how many Milli Vanilli jokes there were, plus like Ishtar jokes that were pretty unfair.
I never saw Ishtar, but I've heard Ishtar's funny.
It is quite funny.
And especially the opening scenes, I've been told.
That's I don't know if it was me, because that's exactly the stuff. Like when it comes on, and it's them at the piano. You're hearing audio of them working on music, Hoffman and Beatty, and it is some of the funniest, giggle-inducing stuff for me.
Are they bad on purpose or they're not bad? Actually?
Yes. And what a talent it was for Paul Williams to do the songs and write what he called bad songs on purpose, for them to then pretend like that they were going to write and were writing. But I
love Paul Williams so much.
He's, some people say he's over, but I say he's only just begun. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You seem like you had that one loaded up. That's what it sounded like to me.
Was it the sudden change of expression on my face that said, "Oh, I had a thought"?
That's what happened. Now, Tyson, of the podcasts that you have, how many have we done so far?
You and I.
Could you use this in any of the current podcasts that you told me about? Because you contacted me and said you want to be on this thing, and then all of a sudden you started to go, which one you want?
Yeah.
You want raspberry lemon? Mm-hmm. You want grape? Or do you want to be waterboarded? And I thought that was a joke. Mm. I don't want to be waterboarded, Tyson. That's a terrible show.
Clearly
it's a terrible podcast.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't even make a good YouTube video. Oh, wait. No, that was a feeding tube. Never mind.
But someone was waterboarded, right? Like, what's his face was waterboarded? Hitchens, he gave someone told me Hitchens said he was going to get waterboarded, and then he gave up on it or something.
Gosh, I hadn't heard that. No, but yes, and I hadn't heard that.
Was that your improv?
I mean, it's.
Did you say yes and,
or
just happened to be?
Yes, and I hadn't heard that. I have actually trained in improv. Not, I haven't performed in years, but
Me too. Just say anything, and I'll make it funny. Anything. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? In the bathroom? Good night, everybody. In the bathroom?
Actually, it should be Ass Cat. That's
Is Ass Cat one of the Polar things? Amy Poehler?
Yes.
UCB?
Oh.
Is it UCB joint?
Yes.
Is it a UCB joint?
It very much is, yeah. When you said
Ass
polar,
Cat.
I literally had the word like
bipolar.
North and South, yeah. Like Polar Express in my head. So in my head, I was going through all the pictures of what that could possibly mean. And then when you said Amy, of course that's
right. So it would be like a sketch. You would be the comic. I would be the comic for, I forget what the rest of the goings on were on Ass Cat.
It's they do heralds, I believe, on that, or a herald, or I'm not really sure how the herald organism actually breaks down. I mean, I understand.
I don't even know. It's one of those references I know about to make fun of. Oh, you're in improv? Oh. You do heralds?
You do heralds? Yeah, it's a long form improv scene where people kind of come and go, and I'm sorry, I had to do that.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah.
How long were we both out for?
I've got there are no clocks in this room.
Oh my! Are you in an escape room? Because a lot of people say that my act to them is very much like an escape room. You want to get away from it. Mm-hmm. But you're so desperate that you start to lose your ability to think clearly because you hate it so much, and that's how I get you. That's how I get you.
I like the idea.
Who was that guy we hated? Find him.
Go after him. I do like the idea of an escape room. I like the idea of a really pleasant escape room that's probably called like Escape the Pina Colada Song Room. And that's all I got.
Do you like the Suicide Song? In a little while from now.
Oh, yeah. I used to perform it.
I'm not feeling any less sour. Promise myself. No, who? Did he die from suicide?
I don't know. Gilbert O'Sullivan was his name.
Yes.
Was that his real name? Did he literally have the name of two famous composers in one name? I could...
You know what? He could be one of those people like your whole life you thought it was a bit. The bit might be his name.
Well, it's true. I mean, my name's Tyson Saner. I can't help that.
That's not your name.
It really is, yeah. And
you know what? I thought, as soon as you said that, I thought, that is his real name. But before that, I would think it wasn't your real name. I would think it'd be like your chicken is even better and saner. Mm-hmm. I'm like Tyson Chicken, but I'm more real.
That's a good point. Another question.
Tyson is a weird first name. Is that a birth name?
It really is, yeah.
No, you just said that to me. How many times do you think you need to say it to me before I can... I think I'm stupid, and my dad reinforced this with me. He's passed now.
My condolences.
But he was very bright, and he didn't mean to, but he was so bright that he made me feel stupid. But now I think, you know what? He was onto something.
Oh, his screen is.
Has your assistant gotten here? Not assistant. Has your other?
That's a good question. He has.
Go
He has. Sorry, I didn't mean. I don't know why that didn't mean to sound like a snarl, but as I was.
No, it was
back in
not
my
a.
mind-
It was not at all. It sounded like you sound very. You're very gracious. You have a certain vim, and you have a certain vitality.
I love the word vim.
No, well, vim you prefer over vigor.
It depends if it's balsamic vigor.
Look. Let me get this out of the way right now, Tyson. I love puns.
Oh, thank God.
But I don't want you to think that the time I've put in now is not time, is that has to be time towards the hour game show. Tell me the three shows. Give me the three shows I'm doing that I might be doing.
Okay, so there's.
Why can't it be just this show? Andy Kindler and Tyson Saner.
Well, you could totally do that. There's no reason why it couldn't be. Technically.
But you don't have a show like that.
No, so I do have one. Okay, so there's Antisocial Show, which is this one that I host with Hunter. We've been doing it actually since October of 2016. I know Thought Spiral started.
Oh my God, that's a
not
long time.
Yes, but
I think that's where I've heard of you first, maybe, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Okay. It's possible that before I started Antisocial Show as a host, I was helping out Marc Hershon by sending him clips, and I've been doing that since 2012, I want to say. So
why do you want to say it, but then you did say it? See, when people say first of all, I want you to know I'm playing a character this whole time, kind of.
2013. That's why.
But I am playing a character a little bit.
Oh, I understand.
I'm giving you the business. No, but it could be Tyson. You can't tell. You're very poker faced.
Thank you.
Right? So you could be having so much contempt right now. I don't know. You could be filled with contempt. It could be coming out of the headphones. But you seem as if you're having a nice time. This is fine with you that I seem to be breaking in. My podcast, the thing I like about working with you is that my podcast partner, he can't stand that I won't let him get a word in edgewise, that I cut him off, that I don't listen. He expects when he says something that I know what it was, Tyson F. Saner.
Wow. How's that for a...
Wait, are you playing piano music or is that in my head?
That is actually... Okay, so the living room is...
Well, this is a fake backdrop, right?
It is, yeah.
But I think of you in some kind of a cathedral.
Thank you. So there is actually a green screen behind me, but this is something that comes with Skype for free. Like, so without a green screen. Like you could...
You're killing me. Now you're killing me. You're telling me that Skype, if you join today, or join now, we will include something that isn't real. It's not real that you can use. Right. That we probably ripped off of the Saks Fifth Avenue. That's not the name of that cathedral. That's not the name of the Saks Fifth Avenue Cathedral.
St. Pat's?
That's what I meant.
Okay, cool.
You're a Christian, so you know.
Right.
You're so lucky you would never be mistaken for a Jew. What? Siri. Hey, Siri.
That was my, I don't know. Normally, I said good question. I don't know what I said. Because normally I have to say, okay, in order for it to hear me. And then, but okay. I say that and then I say Google.
No, why do you say okay? That triggers it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
well,
Google.
I say that, yeah. And
I'm so excited because I want your Google. Why can't your Google hear me? And why do I want it so bad?
Because this goes directly into I know. Well, if I have a question like, hey, Google.
You have a great voice that you could have used, and if you were born in a different time, you could have been a radio guy. Why would you want to be the radio guy? 65 Degrees. I'm Tyson Saner, and you're listening to The Quiet Storm all night long. We've got the Moody Blues.
Later tonight, we'll be playing Steely Dan's Asia from End to End. That's a soft rock.
Can you back announce it?
Sorry?
Do you use the expression back announce?
Back announce. Oh, no, I like the sound of that, though.
I learned that from Tom Sharpling of The Best Show. He says, they back announce. It's like when you come back, when you're listening to music on the radio, and then you go, what was that song? And then at the end of like a half hour, they go, you were listening to Montavani's, And that was Jumpin' Jack Flash by, you guessed it, the Rolling Stones. I'm Tyson Saner.
That was...
Okay, now what's the piano? Tell me where the piano thing, is that part of the package?
I will, but I've got one. So,
okay, I'm sorry.
That was John Cale's 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Yes, your radio wasn't off.
Wrong.
That is actually... Sorry.
There's a Kale reference, and these people don't get him. Kale with a K. Would that be better for you people? I'm mad at an imaginary crowd.
Well, that's fine. You know, juiced kale tastes not unlike apple juice.
What is it?
Juiced kale, like the fresh stuff. Yeah.
You don't do kombucha, right? You're not someone who...
I am actually the guy who... Yeah, I'm the one who tweeted you the kombucha joke.
What was the kombucha joke?
So I asked you what your thoughts were on kombucha, just to see if you had any, because I didn't want to, and then you answered, you said, not a fan, tastes like it was fermented in a shoe, which is hilarious.
Right. I remember that one.
And I said, I was like, I feel like this has been pointed out before, because it's, anybody can make this joke, as my thought. But I think if Dennis Miller had a kombucha...
I'm remembering this now.
It would be called kombucha cha.
Kombucha cha.
And you retweeted that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Look, the talk show the radio show didn't work out, so my smart mouth, I can't sell my smart mouth mints anymore, so I hope you get those down to the health food store there, choo-choo, and get some of my kombucha cha-cha. Kombucha cha-cha.
I gotta say, the thought of not being able to have a healthy biome tends to get stuck right here. That's a weird reference to Deliverance. No,
it's
sorry.
Napalm. It's napalm for your goo-goo. Ha-ha. See, Dennis Miller, a couple of years from now, that's what it'll be like.
Goo-goo, ha-ha.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Cheney. I like Cheney. So what? If he sees footage of himself, you think he'll ever... No, because he'd have to change to see it.
That's true. Did you ever see Adam McKay's dick? I think I just realized that.
Well, I have seen his actual dick, if that's what you're asking me.
But the movie.
No.
It's quite good.
What was it about?
It was about Dick Cheney.
Oh, the Cheney movie. That's right. I wanted to see that. Yes, I did want to see it.
It's worth it. I tend to see a lot of movies. Not as many as I used to, but that's part of having a baby. And I'm not complaining, because I'd take it over that. But I have a lot of crap in my...
And you have are you raising the baby with somebody?
Yes, my wife is...
What are you looking up? Is your wife on a different level near where that old clock looks like it? Yeah.
Yeah, no,
where that guy is.
So, what the audience can't see until it gets to the video version of this, which is going to be years from now, is...
you mean people will not see me? I love that.
They will eventually, theoretically.
Okay. I haven't signed off for that.
It's true, but I could blur you if it's.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Do whatever you want.
Thank you. So my wife is putting our son back to sleep. He woke up crying for some reason, so I came back out and we kind of put him back down again, and then started the rocking process. And what you're hearing is the lullaby music that.
Oh.
That is, yeah.
That's so cute. You're gonna hate to be sued when BMI gets those lullaby people on your ass.
Right. It's a good point.
You can't use any of this.
I can work around it.
No, you can. You're fine.
I can work
first of all, shame on you, the person who's coming from that company.
Yeah.
To collect their 3 cents. Just sounds like background music. I'll give you $5 for background.
I'll tell you, I remix podcast audio, and so I kind of am geared to hear something and think, oh, that would make an interesting song. And I cannot help but hear drums over this now because I've heard it so many times.
That's not good for lullabying.
No. But then again, neither are all the voices screaming in my head. So, then again, so I first became aware of you in early Comedy Central commercials. So, real quick, I'll mention that the co-host that you were mentioning from Thought Spiral is Josh Weinstein, who now goes by Jelvis Weinstein, or also J. Elvis. And he for those of you who don't know, was the original voice of Tom Servo on Mystery Science Theater 3000 with Joel Hodgson, the original host, and also he was the original counterpart to Dr. Clayton Forrester, a character known as Dr. Larry Earhart. And so there is a Turkey Day marathon on Comedy Central years and years ago, and I put a tape in there and so I could have something to listen to as I went to sleep, because I found listening to Mr. Science Theater very soothing. But also what I got was all the commercials that were running, and so I heard this Dr. Katz spot over and over again as I'm falling asleep, and it would come back, and it would be the bit where it's you're auditioning, and Dr. Katz, so this is the 6th episode of the first season, I believe, and he's saying, the guy says, Slate, and I start to, talk and fool around, and he say, look, don't be shticky. And you had a very funny, take on that. And
yeah, I said, you don't be shticky. You know how I hear that? I hate the Jews. That's how I heard that. And I remember that it was a commercial audition for this product. I can't think of like an office copier or something, but they were like popular, like Staples or whatever it was. Their commercials were like not funny, but they were like, well produced or whatever. So they had it in their mind what they wanted. And I did a lot of riffing at commercials and auditions to avoid the audition. Mm-hmm. But this guy was like, he could have had blonde hair. He could have had riding boots on. He could have had
jodhpurs and a riding crop?
Yes, something like that.
Is it jodhpur?
I hate the Jews. Oh, no, jodhpurs are, I don't know.
Those weird pants.
Jodhpurs are the thing on the thing that look like the pizza slicer? Pizza cutter?
The pizza cutter, the little wheel with the thing on it? Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah, it's not TV. It's those commercials that get me.
Hey, wait a second. What are you listening to? What are you, spying on my... I'm the only person who would have a podcast, and that would be suspicious when someone would quote something from it. What's your game, buddy? I know your show that you're on. Oh, that's how you know your career's not going well.
Yeah, so I'm fairly current with Thought Spiral in that I have definitely listened to the last... okay, sorry, a message from my wife coming in about the status of my baby sleeping.
You're such a great dad.
Well, thank you.
My parents left me with a bowl of water for 14 years and dry food.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Think of me. Exactly.
The upside of that is that you became inured to Ebola. Oh, a bowl of water. Oh, that's terrible.
No, I like it. Ebola, what if who is it? Okay, I almost was going to launch into a Seinfeld. Nobody wants that. Who are these people?
So I've been listening mostly to the. This is kind of messed up. So when I became aware,
we got you on the Dr. Katz. We got the Dr. Katz promo. I thought you were going to talk about the commercials I did for Comedy Central. I did a series of commercials. They were like sold the stars to the Maps homes, and so
yes,
because I'm such a narcissist, I'm like, I'm sure he's going to bring up the classic Andy Kindler Comedy Central spots, as if anybody remembers me except me, and I'm losing some of the memory.
Well, you did also say in the same episode that something about your target audience being men who of your age who are you.
Men my age who are me. That seems to be, that's the group. My favorite thing I did on Dr. Katz was doing my mother. Yes. And they did, like California, Andy. So I want to visit Sausalito. Andy. My wife, when I met my wife, that was the first bit that she heard of mine that she enjoyed. So I'm just saying, giving you two messages. She didn't like most of my act. She did. I mean, she met me when I was bombing all the time, every night. So what are you going to do?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You had a funny take on the Three Stooges. I don't mean to go all Byron Allen, but I
do whatever you want. I love this kind of thing.
But these are definitely like little things that stood out. So now, when you said said that you figured out why women don't like the Three Stooges, and you said it's because they aren't funny. That's why women don't like the Three Stooges. Now that seemed perfectly straightforward to me, but you were saying the Three Stooges aren't funny. Yes.
Right. Oh, I see.
Did that ever get interpreted in a different way? Because I heard it that way.
Because they're not. Women aren't funny. Oh, I would have been.
I didn't think you had said that, but that's what I wondered if anybody ever thought you had. And
no one has ever thought of that, but I think it's like, I hope to God nobody laughed at that joke thinking,
Yeah.
But the joke was anti-women, pro Three Stooges. I think my intent is so obvious on it. That people,
well,
you know.
good. I'm glad that nobody ever took.
But it's an excellent point because I've had a lot of things where I had something structured and I can't figure out why it's not working, and then you realize you're phrasing it in a way that's confusing.
I would say I call it ambivalent. No, ambiguous, because there are things that sound completely ambiguous. Oh, another thing I loved hearing you on was the Todd Glass show.
Oh, I loved this show.
I just started re-listening to, I think, your first appearance because sorry, there's a bit of a delay, so it looked like you were going to say something, but it was actually the slowdown of the head and.
Oh, well, I have to tell you something that happens to me on stage every night. I mean, that's why, like, when the quarantine started, I couldn't tell any difference. You know, delays, people not getting it, doesn't sound like they hear me. That was happening back in the clubs. I
love the little bumpers that you add to Thought Spiral and the little sounds.
That's not me. That's Josh.
Oh, well, no, I mean, yes, but I mean the stuff that
But he's
inspires...
very angry with me. He's very angry, and he's not angry with me, but he should be angry with me. Because I don't listen to all the bumpers. I want to hear the bumpers, but I don't want to hear my voice.
Mm.
Do you listen to your own voice? It's hard, right?
Well, as I edit the show...
that's it. Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, I do. And it's okay. I've gotten used to it. I also have a show on YouTube where I play video games, so I have to edit that as well. So I have to look at myself at the same time as hearing myself, so it's even worse.
Now, we are from different generations, and we are really from different generations in the sense that I have no experience with video games, and it's not generational, because people my age should have. I'm 64. Mm-hmm. Many people my age do have it, but it never interested me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big hole in my life.
Well, you know, I was thinking about that, and I think... if you don't mind my saying so, that I know that Mr. Weinstein is a fan of video games. If the two of you, if Thought Spiral or whatever had a Twitch channel, it would do very well.
Yeah, but now you're actually talking above my head. Because I know what Twitch is,
mm-hmm.
but it sounds to me like I'm going to start guessing it's me and Josh and we're doing the podcast, but people can also hear us eat lunch and like that kind of thing. Don't some of these people get seen 24 hours a day on Twitch?
Do I get concerned by seeing people 24 hours?
No. I said, don't some people have to be on all the time and people are watching them all the time?
Oh, some people do, yeah.
Probably not.
But mostly, I find most of the people who need to do it all the time are people who aren't well known. So people who could do it one night a week.
Yeah, but you have skills that, like, you probably could sniper somebody, or you could probably, you know what I mean? You have marketable skills from these video games that I don't know. Am I wrong about that?
Well, I'm not. I am actually pretty okay at games, but finding sponsorship is it's tricky.
Oh, I know what you're saying. But would you say that when you get into a certain category, everybody's at the same kind of level? Or is it like not skateboarding? Is it like whatever, where there's like Tony Hawk? There's like a Tony Hawk.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, there is a. I understand. But with skateboarding, there's a mind body, there's a physicality to it, you know. And
right.
It's not that there isn't a physicality to that piece of plastic in your hands. There's definitely a reaction time aspect that comes into it. But a person who can't play video games is as entertaining as a person who can.
Well, I thought when those I tried like the Wii thing when it first started. I was like, wow, because I used to study martial arts, so I was like, wow, you could get like a Wii thing where you could really feel like you were fighting an opponent. But then it never really took off, right?
The Wii did actually remarkably well. It was.
That's what I said. Bring it back.
Let me finish. Now, I don't have one. But I did have a GameCube, which was the console right before that. And I don't know, I kind of came back into gaming late. But I'll tell you, one of the only reasons why I do the gaming videos is because I don't have time to just play video games. So making a video seems like it's productive. And that's pretty much the only time I can play. So I'll make a video. I can't make them all the time. But then I put them on YouTube to promote
the other podcasts. So there's Antisocial Show.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, you're making what's the video? Okay, what does the video consist of? It's like you promoting it, or what's the video? I got lost there because not because of you, but because of the ADHD.
No, yeah, it's perfectly all right. So on my YouTube channel, which is under my name, I play video games.
Ah, okay.
And other stuff, but you can see me moving. Like usually, I'll be down here in the bottom of the screen, and I'll be talking, and I can, and then where you are, there'll be like game footage happening because I'm.
And you've watched people and enjoyed people doing this, right?
Yes, a few. There are some who are particularly fun to watch, and they tend to do the best. Like there's a guy named Markiplier who it's basically Multiplier but with Mark on it, and he's pretty funny. He's just, I don't know, he seems really nice and he's compelling, and if he's bad at something, he just lets it happen, and he's pretty energetic. He's kind of found his voice. He's been doing it for, gosh, I don't know, I'm going to say 6 to 8 years or something now. And, it started small for him because nobody knew him, but he's now like one of the most subscribed to YouTubers, like in the millions.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think I feel because I'm short. I'm 5. As my friend Boris says, my nickname is Cinco de Mayo because I'm 5'5.5". And I really wanted to be a but yeah, kind of. I want to be a famous athlete because I used to when I was a kid, I used to pretend I was Willie Mays or whatever. Mm-hmm. I had so much invested in becoming an athlete, and I was so quickly passed up by people who were superior athletes.
Isn't it weird how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were taller and they were faster. And but it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that they were taller and faster. They were better.
So it's a triple whammy.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why I brought that up, but why did I bring that? How did I bring that up?
I think we're talking about aptitude in general for things.
Right.
Partially for video games. Like when I do my videos, I'm not doing them to show off. It's pretty much just to kind of learn what the games are. And sometimes I'll revisit a game that I used to play before I started recording footage and be like, this is...
I see.
Yeah. Some retro gaming. Like I'll bring back games from the arcade days. Like I played Shinobi on the other day, which is a side-scrolling ninja game. Basically, I used to pump quarters into back at a laundromat. So I talk about it.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That sounds very cool to me.
I'm of that age.
I'll buy 7 episodes. I'd like some back end, and I want to get into the Tyson Saner business.
Sold. American. I appreciate your what's the word? Support. I appreciate your support of.
Yeah, and my general love of artistry. I don't know. I see. I start out serious and then I go unserious. Mm-hmm. That's what people want.
Yeah, absolutely. You want a back and forth. So I've been listening to Thought Spiral in 2 ways. I've, I said I've been caught up for about the last 12 weeks, and then I went back and started listening from episode 1. So I'm listening to all the new shows, i.e. I will be listening to tomorrow's show when it comes out. It's one of the ones I listen on the day that it comes out, which is Monday.
So cool.
It's a great show.
That's exciting to me.
Oh, thank you.
I could never say that about the show, and even think about it that much, because it'll jinx me.
Oh, to get like getting in your head during a game.
Like if you start to go, oh yeah, people like the show. Tyson was talking about it the other night. People are, and Tyson mentioned that he listens when it comes out. I think we are becoming very, very important. I think that we are making a difference, and people resonate with us because, as the Kardashians say, let's make memories.
Let's make
memories. They can't stop saying that.
Really?
Let's make memories.
They actually say
we're
that?
We're watching the last. Me and the wife, we can't stop watching them, and they keep not delivering.
It's funny.
So they're in their last year now, and all they're talking about is, I can't believe it's the last year. It's the last year.
They're really in their last year of keeping up with the Kardashians?
Yeah, they've had 20 years of it.
That's funny. God, has it been 20 years?
Yeah.
Holy.
I'll never forget where I wasn't when I didn't listen to the thing back then.
Right.
But now I'm obsessed by it, but not really because it's a terrible show. But my wife and I, we like to watch garbage shows like, Housewives and they're not garbage shows. That's the wrong way to put it. They're campy.
Used to watch a lot of Food Channel shows.
Yeah, but I don't like the competition. That's the thing. Why the competitions all the time? Why I don't want to see someone make a Welsh rabbit fast.
I don't know, because, it's funny that you say that, because Chopped, very popular. There's definitely a competition, but there's a show called Iron Chef that probably really...
Oh, I've heard, everyone loved that one,
like the
right?
original Iron Chef. Because, don't get me wrong, the American Iron Chef, also good, but the original Iron Chef is transcendent.
When you say don't get me wrong, I want to get you wrong.
There is a game that you might enjoy trying to figure out. That sounded really condescending, but it wasn't meant to. It's not like a skill-based game. That also
you don't sound condescending. You don't sound condescending. I can tell you that as a person who my father was very smart, but then he made me feel like I wasn't smart. He didn't do it on purpose, but he came out condescending. You're not condescending at all. Okay. You should never worry about that.
Are you familiar?
Unless you start mansplaining.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, I barely manscape.
Am I familiar, you were saying?
Are you familiar with Alan Watts?
I love him.
So
I am in love with him. Sorry.
No, please.
The book on the taboo of knowing who you are. All of his stuff is just the greatest. He's my favorite philosopher, I think.
There is a game called Everything where you interact with the universe by becoming different parts of it, and then you find little bits of audio, and it's Alan Watts giving little bits of speeches during the experience.
That's so cool.
It's meant to be meditative, I guess, and it is a very unique gaming experience. It's not really a game.
His spoken word, if you read his stuff, it's amazing. His spoken word, he just had the greatest voice, and he just was the greatest communicator, in my opinion. I loved him.
I enjoy hearing the stuff that he was saying, and there was definitely a Alan Watts book on the bookshelf in the house where I was growing up, but I didn't pull that one out to look at. I pulled out the Carlos Castaneda and the William S. Burroughs.
Yeah, now the Carlos Castaneda, I got very angry. I was addicted to Carlos Castaneda. I loved him so much. Mm. And then I found out that it was fiction.
Yeah.
And so then I got very, very mad. But in retrospect, I am kind of glad now that when I read them that I was fooled, because I really enjoyed the way they were written. They were written very well. And had I known they were phony going in, I wouldn't have read them.
I hear you. Yeah, that was disappointing for me to find out later as well. I don't know that I read all of them, but I read most of them. I think there were 6 of the main ones.
That sounds right to me.
It's like Tales of Power was in there. There's
the Ballad of Don Juan.
Don Juan. There's Saints Above Us. No, that's not what it is. The Eagle's Gift, I think, was the last one.
Yes. And I was such a huge fan. I would wait till it came out, and I mean, I couldn't wait till it came out and all that kind of thing. And then, he was. There's a podcast about him. He was quite. I mean, it's fascinating, the whole thing.
I'll have to look into that. Maybe clip it for Succotash.
Yeah,
I've definitely clipped Thought Spiral for Succotash at least once.
You'll hear from our lawyers. Goldstein and Goldstein.
Or what was the one that Weinstein said? It was Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe? Oh, or was that the accountants?
Yeah. That's an old, almost a Catskill show. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
I love wordplay.
I heard that from Mike Rowe, not the Mike Dirty Jobs Mike Rowe, the other Mike.
Right. This, by the way, the non-Dirty Jobs Mike Rowe, the writer of Mike Rowe, was a guest on Succotash. Marc Hershon interviewed him on an episode not long ago. Insert information here.
And he's, was that to remind you?
Yeah, I'm not going to. I do that to like when I actually do look at this footage and then think, oh yeah, I did leave him a note for myself. Who knows? Maybe by that point, because I've talked about it now, I'll just put it in there anyway, and then this won't make any sense. Not that, I mean, who knows? Does this?
I mean, we're not trying. I mean, we're not making a novel. We're not making a narrative.
No. we're not trying to talk about some really interesting spiritual journeys that never actually happened. But no, so that Alan Watts game, it's not really an Alan Watts game. It is a game that contains his audio, and it is literally about, like, maybe you'll start off the game as a leaf. Maybe you'll start it off as a cow. Maybe it's a blade of grass. Maybe it's a molecule. And then you just sort of like push, using the keyboard, kind of like pushing your way through the universe and then going into something else that's either above, like ascend, or below in wherever it is on the cosmic scale. It's the strangest thing. And everything. The guy who developed this game originally developed a game called Mountain, which is about being a mountain. And I have it, but I have not played it yet. Also, this game, I think, was $2 when I bought it. And for the experience of this non-game game called Everything...
It's well worth it.
It's well worth it, yeah. And, I don't know, some people might find it kind of... some people, I think, are annoyed by philosophy.
Oh, yeah, sometimes they are. Yeah. Well, sometimes philosophy is annoying, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes people are like, I just want the nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts and bolts and nuts. That's what I want.
But that's what philosophy is supposed to be, the nuts and bolts, really. It's saying what is animating all of this, whatever the topic is.
Animus. There's something called anatta? Anatta? I can't remember. I was looking at... My parents understand more of like the Buddhist stuff than I do, certainly.
I don't know. I have nothing.
Okay.
Well, something about your parents. Well, okay. I think we get along very well if your parents are into Eastern philosophy.
Oh yeah. I mean, I get along with them, especially now that the kid's here. I mean, we always did, but I mean, like they love him. So it looks like my co-host is ready. Are you okay to switch gears violently?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you,
sure.
Sir. I'll bring him in. Thought Spiral can be reached on Twitter at THOUGHT_SPIRAL, all lowercase. Andy Kindler can be reached at all lowercase ANDYKINDLER. He is also on Cameo. And Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, he and comedian Megan Beth Keister do a live show on Instagram called Kindler vs. Keister. Megan Beth Keister can be found on Twitter and Instagram at the handle BornFeral. That is all lowercase BORNFERAL. And if you'd like to follow Antisocial Show on Twitter, it'd be great because we don't have very many followers over there. That is all lowercase Antisocial Show 1. That is ANTISOCIALSHOW and the numeral 1. Hunter Block can be reached at Zombie Bacterium. That is all lowercase ZOMBIEBACTERIUM. And if you want to find Antisocial Show, you should probably search Sounds by Tyson Saner. Or you can go to www.tysonsaner.com. And by the way, that Succotash Shut-In episode I mentioned that I said I wasn't going to add, I decided to look it up, of course, and it was talking about episode 245. It's called Jawin with Michael Rowe. And at long last, we've reached the end of the episode. Did you guess the theme? Tweet at Succotash Show and use the hashtag Epi269 theme. That's capital EPI 269, capital THEME. The first 5 correct answers will receive shoutouts when I return in episode 271 with who knows what I'll have in store for you. Probably clips. Maybe a chat. Maybe a bit of both. I really don't know at this point in time. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed your time and perhaps came away with a few new ideas of what to listen to next. There's plenty of shows in the archive at www.succotashshow.com, and since they've been accumulating for 10 years, there's a rather unique overall audio documentary of the history of soundcasting, filtered through the prism of other people's audio content from around the English-speaking parts of the globe. If you wouldn't mind writing a review of our show, it would really help us out in getting inside the listening space of as many people as possible. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Be decent to each other, and don't forget to pass the Succotash.
You've been listening to Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast, with your host, Tyson Saner. Brought to you by Henderson's Pants and...
Imagine your company's name right here.
Rate us and review us at Apple and Google Podcasts. Find us on the web at succotashshow.com, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, on YouTube,
On SoundCloud.
and wherever fine
soundcasts are streamed and or downloaded.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Succotash Show. Like us on Facebook. Email us at tyson@succotashshow.com or call into the Succotash Skype line at our toll call number 818-921-7212.
That number again is 818-921-7212.
You can also upload clips from your favorite comedy soundcasts directly to us using our direct upload link at hightail.com/u/Succotash. Succotash is produced and engineered by Joe Paulino through the auspices of Studio P Sausalito, the home of the hit. Our hosts are Marc Hershon and Tyson Saner. Our musical director is
Scott Carvey.
Our booth assistant is
Kenny Durges.
Succotash is executive produced by Marc Hershon. Until next time, I'm your loyal booth announcer, Bill Haywatt, reminding you to please pass the Succotash. Goodbye. This has been a Succotash Patch production.